and shook up after being chased by big cat. In latest Doncaster sighting, a boy was left shook up after being chased by a big cat during a bike ride with his dad, 11-year-old Harry Abonai was cycling in woods with dad Martin when a large mystery animal began giving chase to the youngster. The pair escaped unscathed from the incident, which appears to be the latest in a long line of big cat sightings in Doncaster in recent years. The father and son were biking through Black Car Plantation on Warnington Lane near to Cantley and Branton on Wednesday evening when they were approached by the animal at around 7:30 p.m. "Has there been another big cat sighting in Doncaster?" said Martin. "We were riding on the trails that circumnavigate the woods. My son was riding about 30 yards in front of me. As we rounded a corner, I saw out of the corner of my eye a large black animal sprinting out from the cover of the woods heading directly for my cat would likely attack, so I encouraged my son to get back on his bike and ride away from the scene. I only eat black cat in fields near to the town's Keepmoat Stadium. When I realized what I'd seen, dangerous wild animals act, and while many owners gave their pets to zoos, rumors started time, but this thing was clearly much bigger than a domestic cat or dog, brown, and was